England was on the brink of collapse, and while the king faltered, a foreign queen quietly took control. If she had made just one wrong alliance, if she had trusted the wrong noble for even a moment, the kingdom would have torn itself apart long before history could record its fall. Because when rebellion brews within a kingdom, crowns don't save rulers. Strategy does. Her name was Eleanor of Provence, a woman who ruled during one of England's most dangerous political crises and survived a court that wanted her destroyed. This is the untold story of the queen who controlled power when chaos ruled the throne. Eleanor arrived in England in 1236 as a young, foreign bride, barely a teenager. She was married to King Henry III, a ruler whose authority was constantly being challenged by his own barons. From the moment she set foot on English soil, the nobles distrusted her. She was an outsider, a provincial, with different customs and a different language. She spoke differently, she thought differently, and worst of all, in their eyes, she was intelligent. The English court expected a queen to be a beautiful, silent figurehead. What they got was a master strategist. The England she entered was a tinderbox waiting for a spark. The royal treasury was dangerously weak, drained by Henry's failed military campaigns and extravagant projects. The barons, powerful landowners who commanded their own armies, were demanding more control over the government. They felt the king was incompetent and easily led astray by his foreign favorites. All across the country, rebellion simmered just beneath the surface. And amidst this rising tension, Eleanor saw the truth that no one, least of all the king, wanted to admit. Henry could not rule alone. His indecisiveness and inability to stand up to the powerful nobles were crippling the monarchy. So, she stepped in. Eleanor began to build her own power base, quietly and methodically. She couldn't command armies or pass laws herself, but she understood the true currency of the medieval court: influence and loyalty. She started by placing her own relatives, the Savoyards, into key positions of power. Her uncles became trusted advisors, bishops, and sheriffs. This move was brilliant because they owed their loyalty not to England or its barons, but directly to her. Next, she took control of access to the king. If you wanted to speak with Henry, you often had to go through Eleanor first. This allowed her to filter information, promote her allies, and sideline her enemies. She also became a master of patronage, shaping alliances through strategic marriages and rewarding loyal followers with land and titles. The English court watched with growing resentment. They called her manipulative. They whispered that she was greedy and power-hungry. But what they really feared was this: she was effective. She was turning the chaotic court into a machine that answered to her. As the years passed, the political tensions finally exploded. The barons, led by the charismatic Simon de Montfort, turned their hostility openly on the queen. They blamed Eleanor for everything that went wrong in the kingdom. High taxes. It was the queen's fault, funding her foreign family. The king's bad decisions, it was the queen's wicked influence. They painted her as a foreign parasite draining England of its wealth and power. The propaganda was incredibly effective, and public opinion turned viciously against her. The people of London, in particular, despised her. In one infamous incident, as she was traveling by barge on the River Thames, an angry mob gathered on London Bridge. They began shouting insults, calling her a witch and a whore, before pelting her vessel with stones, filth, and rotten vegetables. The attack was so violent that her guards feared the barge would be sunk. Eleanor barely escaped with her life, forced to seek refuge in the Tower of London. Many would have retreated after such a terrifying ordeal, but Eleanor did not. The attack only hardened her resolve. When the simmering tensions finally erupted into full-blown civil war, known as the Second Barons' War, Eleanor became more dangerous than any army. While the men prepared for battle, she prepared for a different kind of war. She became the linchpin of the royalist cause. Her first move was to secure the royal children, sending her eldest son, the future King Edward I, to safety in France. Then, she used her extensive family connections across Europe to raise a mercenary army and secure funds for the war effort. She was a one-woman diplomatic corps, pleading with the King of France and the Pope for support. While King Henry and his forces fought on the battlefields of England, Eleanor fought in the council chambers and courts of Europe. She maintained a constant flow of communication between loyalist factions, coordinating their efforts and keeping their morale high. She was the brain of the royalist operation, holding the monarchy together through sheer force of will. Her enemies, especially Simon de Montfort, gravely underestimated her. They believed that if they could just remove the king from her influence, the resistance would crumble. They were wrong, because Eleanor was not just advising the king anymore. In many ways, she was governing. After the disastrous Battle of Loos, where both King Henry and Prince Edward were captured by the baronial forces, the royalist cause seemed lost. Simon de Montfort was now the de facto ruler of England. But even in defeat, Eleanor adapted. From her exile on the continent, she worked relentlessly to secure their release. She was a tireless engine of resistance. She negotiated with foreign powers. She threatened wavering allies. She planned rescue attempts. And she waited, patiently, for the right moment to strike. Her persistence paid off. Prince Edward eventually escaped captivity, rallied the remaining royalist forces, and, using strategies he had likely learned from his mother, defeated and killed Simon de Montfort at the Battle of Evesham. By the time the crisis finally ended, England remained intact. It was weakened, scarred, and deeply divided, but it was standing. And Eleanor of Provence hated, feared, and blamed for the conflict had done her job. The monarchy had survived. History, for the most part, judged her harshly. She was remembered as the foreign queen, the ambitious manipulator, the controlling wife who pushed her weak husband into a civil war. But history, written by her enemies, forgets one crucial thing. When England was closest to collapsing under the weight of a weak king and rebellious nobles, it was Eleanor who held the pieces together. She didn't rule with the force of a crown. She ruled with the quiet, unyielding power of control. Queen Eleanor of Provence proved something truly dangerous. In times of crisis, the most powerful ruler is not always the one who wears the crown, but the one who understands the game. If you enjoyed this story of a forgotten queen, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments which historical figure you want me to cover next. Your support helps me bring these incredible stories back to life. Thanks for watching.